If you love watching real unsolved cases, you have definitely seen this famous scene. In the hotel elevator in the early morning, a 21-year-old Chinese girl presses the full floor button, repeatedly hides in corners, peeks out, and even dances in the air. As if arguing with invisible people, a few minutes later, she walked out of the camera and disappeared from the world. 18 days later, her body appeared in the sealed water storage tank on the rooftop of the hotel, completely naked. And the cause of her death remained a mystery. This was the 2013 global sensation known as the Lanke'er incident. The Cecil Hotel, where the incident occurred, is itself a famous death hotel in Los Angeles. It is associated with the Brachydalia mystery and more than a dozen bizarre murders. Coupled with this bizarre surveillance footage, it directly pushed the incident into a global-level internet celebrity mystery. Later, Netflix even made a documentary about it, and its popularity has not diminished to this day. For over a decade, conspiracy theories of perfect murder, hotel ghosts, and supernatural rituals have been circulating one after another. But today we won't talk about ghost stories or use sensational gimmicks. Instead, we will use official autopsy reports, on-site physical evidence, and original police data to unravel the 7 most controversial points one by one. If you like this kind of hardcore case analysis that only talks about evidence and doesn't attract attention, like the video now, subscribe to the channel, and open the little bell. Our channel only produces real and suspenseful cases that can withstand scrutiny, and there's absolutely no need to deceive people with supernatural stories. First, let me quickly provide some background information for a friend who's just fallen into the trap. In January 2013, a Chinese-Canadian girl named Lan Ke Er traveled alone to the United States and stayed at the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. On January 31st, she completely lost contact with her family and officially went missing. The police searched through all the surveillance cameras in the hotel and only found this eerie video of the elevator. After it was made public, the entire network exploded. Until February 19th, hotel guests collectively complained about a sudden drop in water pressure and the foul-smelling and yellowish tap water. Maintenance workers climbed to the rooftop to inspect the water tank, only to uncover the body of Lanke'er inside. The final conclusion given by the Los Angeles police is accidental drowning death. Lan Ke Er herself suffers from bipolar disorder, also known as manic depressive disorder, which occurred during an acute phase. As soon as this conclusion came out, there were a lot of curses. Almost everyone feels that there are too many loopholes and it cannot be an accident. Today, let's break down and explain the 7 doubts that everyone is most dissatisfied with one by one. Doubt 1, the elevator door has been unable to close. Is there someone pressing it outside? This is everyone's first reaction after watching the surveillance footage. There must be someone pressing the door open button outside the door, deliberately teasing her, and even the killer standing outside. But the truth is actually quite simple and poignant. The elevator at Cecil Hotel is an old model that has been in use for decades. As long as you keep pressing the door open button, the door will remain normally open. And the location of Lanke'er station is just right next to the button panel. She was in a state of confusion at the time, her body unconsciously pressing against the door opening button, which was the real reason why the door couldn't close. And in the complete surveillance footage archived by the police, there was no trace of a second person throughout the corridor. The stranger footprints circulated online were later identified by technology as projections of her own shoes. Her gestures and self-talking movements are typical symptoms of acute episodes of bipolar disorder, delusions of persecution, and hallucinations. And she is not really talking to real people. Doubt 2. There is an access control and alarm on the top floor. How could she possibly go up on her own? This is the core argument that many people use to kill others. They said there's electronic access control and infrared alarm on the top floor, and ordinary tenants cannot go up at all. It must be internal personnel leading the way, and even throwing corpses afterwards. This sounds reasonable, but it doesn't match the facts at all. There is an external red fire escape on the side of the Cecil Hotel, which can be flipped out from the hallway window and leads directly to the rooftop. It is not locked or alarmed, making it a completely blind spot for security. Before the incident, some tourists had climbed up the fire escape to take a panoramic view of Los Angeles, but no one was watching the whole process. Even more ironic is that the top floor access control and alarm system claimed by the hotel has been broken for over half a year and has not been repaired. On the other hand, if there were a real killer carrying over 100 pounds and climbing such a narrow fire escape, then stuffing it into a water tank without leaving fingerprints, DNA, or bloodstains, the difficulty would be more than 10 times greater than if she had gone up on her own. The on-site investigation results showed that no third-party biological traces were found from the fire escape to the inner wall of the water tank, basically ruling out the possibility of dumping the body. Doubt 3. A water tank over 2 meters high with a heavy metal lid that cannot be opened by a single person. Many people have calculated the water storage tank is 2.4 meters high, the metal top cover weighs 20 kilograms, and an ordinary girl cannot lift it with one hand. How could she climb in by herself? This is actually a typical information bias. Firstly, the side of the water tank itself is welded with an iron ladder, which can be climbed up from the rooftop platform without jumping or manually climbing. Secondly, this lid is not a flip-up design, but a sliding rail design that can be opened with just a push to the side. Adults with small body shapes can easily push it open with one hand. The most crucial detail is that the first repairman to discover the body clearly confirmed that when he arrived at the scene, the water tank lid itself was half open. And there was no supernatural contradiction of closing the lid from the inside after entering. In addition, during manic episodes, adrenaline surges, causing a person to unleash much greater physical strength than usual, pushing a sliding rail cover completely within her ability range. Doubt 4. The body was completely naked and the clothes were submerged in the water. Did it suffer from sexual assault? This is the point where the most people suspect him of killing. In common sense, how could a normal accidental death occur without clothes on? But the complete autopsy report is very clear. There are no signs of sexual assault on Lanke'er's body, no external injuries such as beating, binding, or strangulation, and no anesthesia or hallucinogenic drugs were detected in her body. Why is he completely naked? In psychiatry, this is a typical symptom of acute onset of bipolar disorder. When patients develop symptoms, they may experience confusion in temperature perception. Despite being in a low temperature environment, they may feel a strong sense of dryness and heat. In a state of confusion, they may voluntarily remove all their clothing, completely unaware of the cold and danger. In addition, the water in the tank circulates for a long time, and the body is soaked for more than 10 days. The clothes will gradually separate from the body and eventually sink to the bottom of the water. So the separation of clothing and body cannot be used as evidence of infringement. Doubt 5, missing for 18 days. The police searched so many times, why couldn't they find the water tank? Many people use this point to criticize the police for being perfunctory and even say that the police intentionally sheltered the murderer. But this is essentially not a matter of attitude, it is a logical blind spot in routine searches. The routine investigation scope for cases of missing hotel personnel is always the areas where the personnel may be hiding, such as guest rooms, corridors, basements, storage rooms, and surrounding surveillance. The rooftop drinking water tank is a municipal water supply equipment and is not on the regular personnel search list. Not to mention the investigators at that time. Any regular investigation of missing persons in any country would not immediately open the drinking water tank to find someone. Moreover, the 4 water tanks are surrounded by walls and pipes, making it impossible to see the inside from the outside. Without lifting the covers, no abnormalities can be detected. Even when the hotel went missing for half a month, routine water quality testing did not find any problems. It was not until the decay of the body blocked the water inlet, causing a decrease in water pressure and a foul odor in the entire hotel, that the problem was completely exposed. This is a process oversight, not intentional concealment. Valve 6. There is no external injury or poisoning, just saying it was drowning. Is it too far-fetched? Some people say that it's easy to put a person into the water and pretend to drown, so why must it be an accident? We need to talk about the core judgment criteria of forensic medicine here. True drowning during one's lifetime results in a large amount of water accumulation in the lungs and respiratory tract, and the detection of diatoms in the body will match the water quality at the scene. These characteristics are difficult to fabricate. In Lan Ke Er's autopsy report, the characteristics of drowning and suffocation are very clear, which is consistent with the conclusion that she entered the water before her death. More importantly, if someone forcibly pushes someone into the water to commit murder, the victim will definitely struggle violently, leaving resistance, injuries, pressure marks, and bruises on the neck, arms, and torso. But there were no such injuries on Lan Ke Er's body. At the same time, a key detail was discovered during the autopsy. Only prescription drugs for treating bipolar disorder were detected in her body, but the drug concentration was much lower than the normal therapeutic dose. This indicates that she had already stopped taking medication without authorization before her disappearance, and her mental state was already on the brink of losing control. This also provides a reasonable psychological basis for her behavior of climbing and entering the water tank alone. Dat 7. The surveillance video was edited and coded. Did the police delete the key footage? It has been circulating online that the video released by the police is a censored version, deliberately cutting off the third person outside the elevator, and the coding is also to cover up the truth. In fact, there are two very reasonable reasons for coding and propping. Firstly, to protect the privacy of the deceased, which is a routine operation for the police to release missing person videos. Secondly, the core purpose of releasing the video at that time was to mobilize the public to identify clues, not to publicly disclose the complete evidence of the case. All original surveillance footage is fully archived at the Los Angeles Police Department, and subsequent documentary teams and media can apply for access in accordance with the law. For over a decade, countless imaging technology professionals have repeatedly checked the original materials and found no traces of image deletion, time tampering, or lens stitching. The video timestamps are continuous throughout the entire process, and there are no so-called blank periods. After removing all 7 doubts, everyone should be able to see that each seemingly bizarre anomaly actually has a logical and evidence-based explanation. So far, there hasn't been any concrete evidence to prove that this is a murder case. Many people cannot accept the conclusion of accident, which is actually very easy to understand. We normal people simply cannot imagine that a good person would climb into the rooftop water tank by themselves. But for people with severe acute attacks of mental illness, delusions of persecution, hallucinations, confusion in temperature perception, and disregard for danger are all real symptoms that occur. We think it's outrageous just because we haven't experienced that state before. Of course, I'm not saying that no one is at fault in this matter. The security of Cecil Hotel has been in poor condition for a long time, and the facilities have been damaged without repair. There were also obvious omissions in the initial police search, which are all confirmed issues. But if there is a problem with management, it does not mean there is a murderer who has been plotting for a long time. The supernatural claims and conspiracy theories circulating online are mostly secondary creations with added fuel and vinegar, and I haven't even seen the autopsy report, relying solely on my brain to gain traffic. Looking at this matter, it is more meaningful to learn more about mental illnesses, such as bipolar disorder, than to indulge in sensational stories and not demonize the abnormal behavior of patients. Finally, I would like to ask everyone, after reading today's disassembly, have you changed your view on the Lanke'er incident? Which doubt do you think makes the most sense? Welcome to the comment section. Let's have a rational discussion. If this video has helped you clarify a lot of confusion, please give me a big like. Every like you give me is my motivation to create hardcore content. For friends who haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe and open the little bell. Next, I will continue to update more globally renowned, real unsolved cases, all of which are informative content that speaks with evidence